but no, you're saying sales are just a little softer and harder to come by, particularly after a year. So I mean, what is that? I mean, how are you managing through that? I mean, because it's got to be a grind. I mean,
it is a grind.
Yeah.
But the harder than the grind, because everybody, most entrepreneurs know what a grind is.
Sure.
And everybody grinds at one point or another.
Absolutely.
So, but the key for us was trying to get to the place where all we had to do was grind.
Yeah. Right.
Because grinding, it was the easy part.
No.
We've been doing that forever.
It's funny you say it that way, but I mean, I get it. I actually understand what you're talking about.
And I know you would, because anybody that's done it.
Yeah.
So the hard part for us was trying to figure out, we had to close the tap immediately.
Right.
Because of the type of business it was. There was no takeout. There was no trying to get over the hump.
Right.
Lou's was different.
Right.
We had built the takeaway room. I had already had 10,000 mailers ready to go.
Right.
Because we were pushing that.
Right.
It just happened to coincide with the shutdown. So
and I remember you and I were talking about it hadn't happened, then the governor
changed the verbiage,
boom,
and set them out. So we thought, there we'll see what happens. We didn't really expect the fall off that had happened.
Right.
It was just utter carnage.
Right.
And so we had to figure out, what does it look like now? Who can we bring in? Who do we lay off? And we actually talked to our staff about it. What works better for you?
Right.
Would the unemployment work better? And some people are like, you know what? I can't sit home on a couch day after day.
Right.
I can't do that.
Right.
I need to go out or I'm in trouble.
Right.
So, come on into work.
I was talking about that, naturally prone to depression or to, whatever. I mean, that would feed
substance abuse.
That would feed right into it.
It really does. So that's why there was a serious sit down on, what works better for you.
Yeah.
And the ones that decided that they needed or wanted to work are the ones we felt, we would bring in and give them the hours. And, because it's, even when you can't afford the payroll.
Yeah.
You're still looking at the mental health part of it.
Right.
I'm going to bring them in. They can clean.
Sure.
There's something for them to do.
Always something
occupy
to do.
their time.
Yeah.
But the windows just got shorter and shorter.
Right.
And early on, the community support was huge.
Mm-hmm.
And Carol and we'd set aside money immediately and said, I'm going to take the staff out every day. We're going to order in rather from this restaurant, that restaurant, a little bit of money for Boys and Girls Club, a little bit here.
Right.
And then, we started realizing it's not 2 weeks.
Right. No.
This is going to go on. So then for us, it was like, well, I can't afford to do this anymore.
Right.
So that's what started Chef and I thinking about our business, going, well, wait a minute. If it's happening to us, it's just a matter of time before somebody's like, I can't afford that ribeye every night.
Right.
So, we had to make a move to family-style meals.
Right.
You did that with us, with meatloaf or lasagna.
Sure.
Feed 5 or 6 people for $40 or $50 just to kind of go.
Right. Well, I want you to stay alive. I mean, I want somewhere to go eat, right? I mean, I enjoy your food. I enjoy your atmosphere.
Yeah.
But let's talk about it. We got to come back to this, I know, but you're talking about going in unemployment. Well, the federal government has, in essence, from a de facto standpoint, in my opinion, increased minimum wage to $15 an hour. By virtue of making unemployment, that be the rate. So it's going to be hard to go back to that. So it's going to come next. So how is that going to hit you in the restaurant business? When you're already coming off kind of soft sales, because I think there is a light in the tunnel. I don't think it's a freight train.
Yeah.
But I don't have the perfect crystal ball either. Right. But I am seeing vaccinations work. I am seeing some immunity being developed.
And I see the mentality of the people that are coming out have changed.
Sure.
It's almost like, I think when the weather breaks, this will break. Whether the government has issued an okay to go out or not, people are just going to be, I'm done.
I got to tell you,
I'll take my chances.
I'm getting exhausted by it. I really am. But coming back to the increase in wages, I know that ultimately it gets all baked back in, and it's really not a big deal. But
it is a big deal.
It is a big deal for a short period of time.
It is, and because you're soft, you're not ramped up.
Right.
And to get wages out ahead of sales.
Right.
Is not like a Food Line or a Kroger or even an Outback Steakhouse or something like that. There has to be capital there, to cover that. And do you believe that your business will get to a point where it'll sustain that?
Right.
And where we were sales before this happened, I don't think I could.
Right.
Not the entire staff.
Right.
But it's all a matter of productivity. I have certain people that generate, by how well they do their job, X amount of dollars.
Right.
They're very efficient at what they do. They don't make any mistakes.
Right.
They don't cook 40 steaks in a night and I have to buy 5 of them.
Right.
You know, so there's
Right.
an efficiency there that's worth, you know, the pay.
Sure.
And then there's others that just aren't. So to universally do that, you know, I can carry maybe 5 out of 50 employees at that rate, but there's a value for that. You know, the others, you can't do that. There's just, the value just isn't there.
Sure.
You know, to make a return on that investment and to be able to keep the doors open.
Right.
You know, in short order, if I had to take everybody, including servers, to a mandatory minimum wage that doesn't support, you know, the cash flow of the business,
right,
we're gone.
Well, I've got several other friends in the restaurant business as well, and you know, they're talking about the tip credit is, you know, being discussed too, at least in North Carolina. Where does it, you know, where's that going to stand? And I don't know if you have any insight on that or what your feeling is.
No, I don't know. Yeah. Everybody's still kind of nebulous. Nobody's made a commitment on whether to include it or not include it or how much of the tip to include.
Right.
You know, it's always been very nebulous. You know, very kind of, you're making 10%, but that server's making 20%, and that one's only claiming 8%.
Sure.
So I think there's some uniformity we can find there.
Right.
Without putting all of the onus on the owner.
Right.
Because I don't know.
I know you don't.
I don't know.
It's actually an independent transaction from the restaurant, unless it's a credit card.
It really is, you know, unless it's a credit card. And so, and they already claim all the credit cards because that's run through the POS system.
Right.
It's the above and beyond.
Right.
You know, so I always caution the staff. I said, you know, you do what you want to do, but if you know there's an audit, you're the one in trouble.
Right.
So figure it out. You know, plus at the end of the year you get more or less, and there's a whole bunch of other things.
At the end of your career, there's Social Security or there's not. There's, you know, or there's not. I mean, you're paying into a system.
Yeah.
I know it doesn't feel that way when you're 20-something or 30-something.
No,
you know?
It doesn't. No, it absolutely doesn't.
I'm working for beer money, you know.
Yeah, pretty much. Although, you know, I'll tell you, that mentality's changed.
Sure.
During this. It really has humbled a lot of the younger people in a lot of different ways. And one of them was their attention to money.
Right.
You know,
yeah,
because all of a sudden they went from making, you know, $150 a night, $200 a night. If I go out and spend it, I'll make more tomorrow.
Right.
You know, they weren't saving, they weren't paying.
Right.
They weren't, you know, managing their money. And then all of a sudden, boom.
Right.
You know, now a $50 day is a good day.
Wow.
So, you know, you're like, what do I do? Well, you pick up more shifts. Sure. You get better at what you're doing. You know what you're talking about. You become a better salesperson because now your livelihood depends on it. It was before in our restaurants.
Right, sure.
You know, they generally made really good tips where they were very good or not.
Right.
Didn't matter.
Right.
If you were good, you made more. But they come from restaurants where they're not used to making money. And now they come and they're making money without having to get significantly better at their job.
Right.
They don't understand what they're leaving on the table.
Right.
And that's kind of the manager's job. That's our job to go, I know you're making this and it seems like good money, but you've lost all of this in the same shift.
You're missing an opportunity to make another
5%.
Right.
You know, well, what's 5%? Well, 5% of your $500 sales,
right,
5 days a week,
yes.
At the end of the month, that's a car payment.
That's it.
You know, or that's half your rent.
That's
so,
it.
You know, if we get that mentality, and I think this pandemic and the lockdowns have really kind of helped us be able to, you know, show them that, or better illustrate to them that it matters.
Right. So, you know, have your landlords worked with you? Have you found, you know, because, I mean, it's not just you. I mean, people don't look at it that way. It's not, you know, it's the guy you pay rent to, and he's got to pay rent. He's got to pay a mortgage. And, you know, I mean, it's
his bills didn't stop.
It's a lot of folks in this that are touching this.
And I think, you know, down the road on the bigger picture, that's, if there's a big collapse, that's where it's going to be.
Sure.
You know, they took care of this group. Lord knows that group got more than what they were owed or should have gotten. And then there's the landlord, the banker, the intermediary.
Sure.
You know, I'm taking my rent money, I'm paying my more. That guy is taking a beating.
Right.
You can't kick anybody out, but you can't collect their rents. Then you got to pay to throw them out when it's done if they don't want to catch up. Nobody's saving any money. But on our level,
in a best case scenario, you get somebody out in 90 days. But that's best case scenario.
And they don't trash the place.
That's right. And then you still got to find, you got to fix it. You still got to find somebody. So you really lost about 6 months worth of rent, if you're being honest. 4 to 6.
Yeah. And they're already behind a year. Well, it'll be a year in March. Yeah. So, yeah, that's a tough spot. But we've been lucky. Blast, our landlords have been more than understanding.
Sure.
And, you know, we had negotiated, that our rent was going to be tied to sales.
Okay.
So, if there were no sales, there's no rent.
No, I get it.
But it's
when
the more sales there are, as you grow, then your rent grows.
When you're really turning it, you're paying a lot of rent.
Yeah,
so.
and when you're not, you're not. But we have two really good landlords.
Good.
And they've been very understanding from the beginning that this was more of a partnership than it was a landlord-tenant type of thing. And it's just, I think the restaurant business is just different. You can't say it's like a Kroger or it's a, it's very dynamic. It's very fluid.
Right.
And so there are times when there just aren't any sales. And it fluctuates. So it was more of a, I make it, you get it.
Sure. Yeah.
I don't make it. I don't have it to give it to you. Let's just not even argue about it, and let's just put it on a scale. So, and so they were very, very good.
Yeah, and good luck to you. I mean, because if that's your choice, then good luck trying to rent it out during a pandemic.
Yeah. Well, there's
for a restaurant, not a whole lot of new starts on that.
If there's a bright side on any of this, is that at the end of this, there's going to be a lot of space available for entrepreneurs.
I think so.
And not just in restaurants, in a lot of different retail. I think mom and pop retail will make a big comeback. Yeah. Because there's already lease-ready space. It's equipped, it's built out, it's ready to go. And you have now, which you didn't always have before, is a motivated landlord.
Right.
Willing to go, what? If you have a track record of being successful at something you want to do, and you go to a landlord and say, look, I've been really good at this for 20 years. I'd like to do it here. They'd be silly not to make whatever accommodations you needed.
Even anecdotally, I've got an old fraternity brother of mine who's a broker up in New York City in Manhattan.
Oh, boy.
And, it's not what it used to be. It's everything is... So, but you normally think of Manhattan as the gold standard. Everybody wants to be there. There's never a soft time. And truly, there rarely are. But even Manhattan is not what it has historically been.
Yeah, look at with the real estate values all over the South and Southeast.
Sure.
They're all people moving.
Sure. No doubt.
They're just getting out there. Like if I'm working from home, home could be anywhere.
Sure.
And, even further upstate New York, the real estate's blowing up there too.
There are 3 investment bankers I work with fairly consistently out of New York, out of Manhattan. 2 of them have moved to Florida, and 1 has remained there and is debating on whether to move to Nashville because of what we do is primarily healthcare. So I just find that fascinating in that sense. But look, so you're from the New York area. You've got an interesting story outside of the restaurants too, although I want to come back to 1918. Let's just go over that story. I mean, you played football, professional football, and...
briefly, I was there for a coffee break.
Sure, well, that's all right. Well, I still have 4 years of eligibility in every major sport. So
if you decide to go back...
I'm
waiting, leg not...
I'm waiting for the phone call.
There we go. Aren't we all? No, I was born in the Bronx. And grew up in Yonkers, New York, and went to school at the University of Delaware.
Sure.
And I was a walk-on there, and ended up a 3-year starter in the defensive backfield, and then played 1.5 years with the Jets. And just kept creeping south to get away from the snow.
I get it. I get it.
And I ended up in Myrtle Beach.
Okay.
Yeah, and I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I know what I didn't want to do, and I did everything I could to stay away from it. Which was more of a 9-to-5, work for somebody else. And then my concern was I was going to get to a place where I was too comfortable to leave and really pursue what I wanted to do. And what I always wanted to do was build something from nothing.
Right.
To turn around one day and go, none of this was here before. And
right. This is my baby, and I've given birth to it, and it's working.
This was dirt.
Yeah, right.
And now, that's 50 employees and it's $750,000 in payroll. Yeah. It's small chickens, but to me, it's everything. So I tried to keep away from that. I ended up in Myrtle Beach, and I found my way to real estate.
Okay.
Because you work for yourself.
Right.
You build your own thing. I wasn't happy with the fitty split on stuff, but I understood the rules, and that was great. Yeah. I wanted to take the day off and golf. I wasn't going to get paid that day, but that was my choice.
Right.
Not my broker's choice.
Right.
And we got pregnant, Carol and I, with Caitlin, and decided to just take a second job.
Okay.
And it ended up, the only thing in Myrtle Beach to do at night was work in a restaurant, and I didn't want to wait tables, so I washed dishes.
Okay.
And a month later, I was cooking, and 2 months after that, I went home and said, I found it. I'm supposed to be in restaurants. And
really?
I said...
From washing dishes?
Yeah.
I mean, that's got to be the most amazing conversion story ever. I mean, but anyway, okay.
I started cooking, and one night one of the cooks didn't show up, and I'm like, I know the food, I didn't know how to cook it.
Yeah.
And I went home and had blisters on my hands, but I had a ball.
Yeah.
And he said, if you want to do this, I'll put my coat on and I'll come back and train you. So I thought about it for a while, worked the line, and the more involved I got, I was like, I couldn't wait to go do that every day.
Wow.
And that's what I've been looking for, was that inner feeling of, and then it was just, I had to get from the dish pit to the office, so to speak.
Right.
And, I knew nobody was going to outwork me.
Right.
This was what I was supposed to be doing. And Carol and I were talking the other day, and you don't really realize it sometimes until you look back, but that first dishwashing job, less than 5 years later, I was owner of the Outback Steakhouse.
And that's where I met you,
here in Rocky Mount.
Right.
So from dish pit to proprietor in less than 5 years.
That was 5 years. So at the point I met you at Outback,
97.
You had basically just gotten into the restaurant business. That's amazing.
It was 5 years.
Yeah.
And I washed dishes, line
Yeah,
cook.
5 years is the blink of the eye. It really
is.
is.
It isn't when you're grinding.
Well,
but you're right. It is.
Yeah.
It seemed like forever
it
took me, and then looking back on it, I was like, oh my God, who does that? Kind of thing.
Right.
It's one of those things. If you didn't know that it wasn't possible, you wouldn't have tried doing.
Well, if somebody told you it wasn't possible, you were discouraged. Yeah, you're right.
You would have just been.
You're the bumblebee, right?
Whatever.
The guy who's not supposed to fly, but somehow or another figured it out.
It was that. I just knew that this is what I was supposed to be doing, and so that was my mission. That and to feed my family.
So how long? It seems like you were at Outback for quite a while.
12 or 13 years.
Yeah.
2.5 contracts.
So that's what I was
and left in the middle of my third contract.
Okay.
I just couldn't do it anymore.
Yeah, no, I get that. And, these chance to do your own thing. You have to lose.
Yeah.
And,
it was important because I realized I'd gotten very sedentary.
Sure.
Very complacent. I was happy.
Sure.
And then I wasn't, because I was still taking orders from people, and I really hadn't built anything.
Right.
Because what I built for them. It wasn't for me.
You were getting your share, but at the end of the day, you couldn't take your ball and go home.
No, I couldn't, and so that's what made it harder to go to work. And then it was Father's Day. It was the Monday after. I woke up and I turned to Carol and I said, "I'm done." She goes, "Well, what do you mean you're done?"
Yeah.
I said,
the baby still hasn't grown up, so
they weren't even in college yet.
Yeah.
What do you mean? I'm like, I can't do it anymore. Yeah. She goes, "When are you going to tell him?" I said, "Probably this afternoon." She's like, whoa. I just want to think it through. And I just knew in my gut it was the right thing to do.
Yeah.
I was 50 years old, and I thought, it was also important to tell the kids that, even at 50, you can still have dreams.
Yeah.
You're never too old to just go pursue them.
Hey, look, Colonel Sanders didn't really get his stride until he was 72, right? I mean, so...
You just never know. Was it Grandma Moses didn't have her sell her first painting till she was 80?
Exactly, right?
So, there were a lot of lessons there, and I decided if I was going to try to teach them, I ought to live them.
Right, sure.
So, not being a hypocrite's always been pretty big.
So lose for a while, and then, the mill starts redeveloping.
Yeah, and they've eaten with us a bunch of times and realized that, they weren't going to get any kind of chain in there. They needed somebody local that was going to drive, and Justin and I had really, put a pretty good stamp on being different.
Yeah. Well, go ahead. How'd you meet Justin? I mean, Chef Justin, a great guy, by the way.
Yeah, he's an awesome guy.
And I think you guys like doing like a rescue kitchen kind of deal. He told me the story, and when I met him, but I'm fuzzy on it, and I'm sure people would love it.
We met in Montgomery, Alabama.
Okay.
Yeah, he was from New Jersey, went to the CIA.
Okay.
Twice.
Yep.
And he and I had a mutual acquaintance who was trying to open a restaurant, an Italian concept in Montgomery.
Okay.
To build and franchise.
Sure.
And so he brought Justin in to kind of help with the kitchen, and brought me in to help, with the overall operations of everything. And that's where we met.
Okay.
And we ended up kind of living in the same apartment for about a year. He was there permanently. I was commuting back and forth twice a month. Do 9 days.
Yeah, but you're spending significant time together.
Yeah, and we realized over Chinese food and Family Guy, we're the same guy.
Yeah.
20 years apart.
Right.
But basically, our view on the restaurant was the same.
Right.
Like in life, there's a lot of gray areas.
Sure.
And there needs to be.
Sure.
But not in restaurants. That food's either right or it's wrong.
Well.
It's not. be better next time.
Yeah, yeah. I'll come back. I'll come back because yes.
Yeah, so clean, organized. Things just not negotiable. So,
right.
And we really had a good friendship, and we talked about, well, we're clearly going to be doing other things. So whoever gets the first one going, the other one will come help. And it just happened to be me.
Right.
He was actually in Florida. He was on his way back to New York with a trailer. And I was like, do you want to spend some time in Rocky Mount helping? As I was still out at Birchwood.
Right.
So he helped me through the opening, helped me with the menu, really challenged me to figure out what and who I wanted to be.
Right.
It was always just a great story I'll tell you over beer.
Yeah.
He
or six, right?
Yeah, just mercilessly beat me down until I could figure it out. Yeah, first time it's like, here, send him a menu, and he goes, I don't get it. I'm like, what are you talking about? And he goes, well, I see some food, but I don't see a restaurant. I don't know how to help you.
Oh wow!
I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, oh,
I thought we were friends.
He's like, I got to tell you that. I really can't help you. So we're not doing my food, Lou. We're doing yours. I'm here to help you do your food.
Right.
So what is it? These are just, these are just recipes. They're not. There's no thing here. And so I thought about it and came back a little while later. He goes, it's better, but you're not there yet. And one of these 9-hour drives to New York and back, I started thinking about, what do I want to do? And basically, it's called an American Tables because if it's on a table in America, I want to be able to put it on my table.
Okay.
So I didn't want to be pigeonholed. Lou Outback, it's going to be a steakhouse.
Sure.
I'd helped, Shuckers get open, and they're a great concept at Wake Forest.
Sure.
Great operators, and they were great friends. But I didn't want to do that. I wanted to do, and everything I've ever done has always been everything.
Right.
If I feel like I want to do Asian, I want to put Asian on the table.
Nothing wrong with it.
I want to do meatloaf on the table. It's just going to be the best meatloaf, you ever shoveled in. But
that's right.
And so that was kind of it, but I wouldn't have really gotten there without Chef's help.
Okay.
And encouragement.
And so that led into, I guess, 1819.
And then they came to us and they said, well, we've got this building. Do you want to help us out?
Yeah.
Which was the old, it's been a lot of things.
Superintendent's house, yeah. I think
through the years, yeah. Mr. Biggs,
yeah.
And actually he passed away in there. And
okay.
He's still in there.
Okay,
oh,
really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, we got to hear some stories on that. I can see, the haunted folks coming in with their,
That was funny. For the first couple of months, Chef thought I was goofing with him, and I thought he was goofing with me about opening different things inside there. And then we realized that, it was crazy. But they came to us, and so, we went through it a couple of times, and neither of us were fans of turning houses into restaurants.
Right.
It's just very choppy. It's hard to get a vibe going or a feel. Just unless it's fine dining, it just doesn't work. But it was old enough.
Even then, it doesn't have the flow,
It was old enough to be cool.
Right.
It's 100 years old.
Right.
That's got pub. Like an old McSorley's Ale House dive pub kind of thing.
I love that bar. It is just gorgeous, and that flow's awesome. I mean, so it did work out. Yeah,
it took a while. We fought tooth and nail to get that, and nobody wanted to put that big a bar in that smaller room.
Really?
Yeah, but you're losing space, you're losing seats. It's not about space and seats, it's about feel.
Yeah.
So now you can have 20 people in there, and that room feels like it's just moving.
Yeah.
And then the porch and all that energy is on the front of that.
Absolutely.
Front of that building.
Brings people in, it would seem like.
Yeah. And so, that was just a lot of thinking.
Right.
We went in there with chalk lines and tape to try to figure out, what are the handicap rules? 34 inches from there to here.
Yeah.
It's 33 and a half. I think we'll be all right. Kind of
Push hard.
Right. But you couldn't be a pub and not have 20 bar stools.
Right.
And if you think about the space, no matter where you laid it out, the most you were ever going to get was like 10 or 12.
Right.
It's just not enough. Then you're just a restaurant with a cool bar.
Right.
You're not a pub.
Right.
And so that's where that gigantic bar. And then Tryon Wood Flooring, Anthony Edwards.
Sure do.
He was huge help. He'd been telling me for years, Lou, if you ever do your own thing and you want to build a bar, back wall,
I'm your wood guy.
I'm your wood guy. and he was.
Yeah.
And he did a great job. He and his team were just super. Super, man. And everything was great. And nothing in that building is square or flush or plumb.
Right. No.
And that makes
so like going to Charleston.
like that a little difficult.
I can only imagine. Yeah, I mean, Well, I bet it's at least an eighth, a half an inch off. I mean, it just would have to be.
Yeah, but it's seamless. They did a great job. Yeah.
So anyway, I hope for the spring will be really good. Do you think that is the mill planning some more outdoor concerts, or is it still kind of tentative?
Know. Yeah. I think they're still kind of feeling their way through too.
Sure.
Like any organization, took a beating.
Sure.
And so they got to just kind of figure out. But we need to have a plan.
Sure.
It doesn't have to be a plan for, opening this date.
Right.
But we need 5 weeks out from opening. What's the plan? Then you just plug that into whatever.
Just tell me where it is. I can back off. And give me a date certain, and I know that I can plan for it.
But there's no date, so now you just got to kind of build the model and have it flow.
Well, what I'm hearing,
drop it in.
What I'm hearing in our briefs, both from a mayoral perspective as well as healthcare, is we're looking probably for herd immunity to occur probably November-ish. They're projecting September, but I think that's going to be kind of a hard press for everybody to get to that magic 75% level. The game changer may be this new vaccine if it can be produced in such high doses. And so I'm personally hopeful that we can get to that place pretty quickly.
Right.
But it doesn't mean that, because people are being vaccinated now. I mean, you're starting to see more and more of it.
Right. But they have to take that into account. They just can't inoculate people and then keep it on the lockdown that we're in. There has to be some sort of, we go from 50 to 80% or 50 to 75%.
I think you're going to start seeing some.
Yeah.
I remember even last summer there was some lifting of some of the issues because, people can spread out outdoors, and it makes a lot of sense when they do, I think.
Well, we have all that lawn.
That's exactly right. Well, that's where I was going with that for you,
But it doesn't help everybody. And because at Lou's, I don't have any outdoor seating.
Right.
So if they don't take me from 50 to 80,
right,
I can't put anybody with. And I'm not unique in that. You think of all of the mom and pops that are here, none of them have. Very few of them have that outdoor capability.
Right.
And so I think the important thing that we all need to keep in mind when we're moving forward with all of this is realize we're not unique.
Right. No.
Our business, the only unique part is how we made our niche of the world survive.
Right.
But our problem isn't unique. And so when we go to solve that problem, it has to be, how does that, it helps to tap, but it doesn't help Marriott.
Right. Appreciate you coming, man. I've enjoyed this conversation.
I have too.
And, I think you're an asset to the community. I certainly enjoy your restaurants and much love and much success to you. And, thank you.
Appreciate that. Just support us when you can. Tell your friends we're open. We'll be all right.
You kidding me? It takes a lot of calories to keep this figure.
Don't I know it, brother? Don't I know it? Thank you, Sandy.
Thank you.